Is there a microphone? I don't think all of you can see me. Uh, distinguished guests, distinguished guests, enthusiastic students and excited parents, good afternoon. This, I see a lot of enthusiasm towards entrepreneurship, especially in the, with all the students, they're coming here and then asking so many questions about entrepreneurship warms my heart. So I started my journey. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur, but in my mind, being an entrepreneur is about building a business. It's money matters, and then the lot of issues, problems to deal with. But I am an accidental entrepreneur. It started by accident. So I came from a very modest the beginning. I studied in a rural college where, the school where for the entire primary school there was only one teacher. So you could imagine, how much all they taught and then how much we learned. And when there was a public exam in 7th standard, actually they gave us all open books. They asked us to answer the questions. But we couldn't really figure out what to answer because there was a Hindi exam, and then we never taught. We were never taught anything about Hindi or advanced mathematics, and then we could hardly answer those questions. So, however, that did not really deter me from pursuing my passion, which I found it to be entrepreneurship later on. So, how did that all happen, right? So. Then later on I studied in Shimoga. I went to an engineering college. So I still vividly remember my induction event where I was sitting on the other side of this the table. So where I actually all I had in my mind at my induction was all questions, like a lot of anxiety, like what do I do in my life? Will I succeed? Will I get a job? Will I make money? And at that point in time, I had a lot of student loan. So I was not really sure whether I will be able to pay off my debt. So how many of you have a little bit of anxiety today while sitting on that side? How many of you have been thinking about your life? Okay, so first on that day, I remember I asked the professor, I asked him like, will I really make it? Will I be able to graduate? And I had a lot of questions. Since I knew him, I asked him like, I have so much of student debt. Do you think that will I ever be able to pay off my debt? He just smiled and then walked away. So I continued to work with him. 4 years later, after graduation, I happened to find an internship and a job, and then I went back to him, and then I was the first person to get the job. And then it so happened that the offer that I had was more than the salary of the HOD himself. So the same person by then had become a HOD. So I had asked him the same question. I know actually I have got a job, but I have the anxiety. Do you think I will succeed in my life? Because I don't know whether I really deserved it. This time he smiled, and then he didn't walk away. He told that there is some special power in you, and there's special power in all of us. It's in your mind. So you need to nurture your mind, and then you need to work on yourself, and then you will do well in life. So with that note, I want to share my experience as to how my entrepreneurial journey began, right? So I joined a company over here in Bangalore, and then I moved to US to pursue my higher studies. I think I worked there for about 8 or 9 years in the US, and then there's some incident happened over there. Someone asked me, what is your real passion in life? I mean, what do you want to do in your life? So we were sitting across the table and we were discussing then, and I started questioning about my life because I was doing well in my career in a corporate job. However, somewhere deep inside, I was not really convinced that what I'm doing and the path that I'm pursuing is something that I want to do for the rest of my life, right? So I started questioning myself, and then there was a lot of discussion about people making money out of building blogs. This was in 2008, right? So I went ahead and I built my first blog. Like everything in life, the first venture and then the first thing that you do, it will not succeed. So I failed miserably. Then, I kind of changed the idea, and then I improvised on it, and then built a marketplace where, I built a consumer research website. So, I still remember for the first few years, right, for the first few months, there was hardly any progress. I used to work very hard. I used to build content. I used to write code, and then I used to do digital marketing, all of it myself. But there was literally no progress, right? So I remember I used to check the income report. We used to have like the income in cents, like 25 cents, 30 cents, or 50 cents. So I was almost about to give up, but then something inside told me that you need to be resilient and then continue to pursue whatever you're doing. So about 6 months later, that was the first day I saw our income was about $1.5. Right? So then it took us like about 2 years to see some significant of income to make. So I mean, reason I'm narrating this story is there are two ways to approach entrepreneurship. One is the big bang approach. You have your grand idea, you form a team, you approach an investor and then raise funds. Or you raise funds from family and then friends and you start. The other way is kind of the slow and then steady way, right? That is what about 99 or 98% of the entrepreneurs in the world, they start slow, they grow slowly, and then eventually some of them will make it big, and then some of them will become what is called the lifestyle entrepreneurs. So I mean, if you want to pursue your passion, and if you want to become an entrepreneur, there are both ways available. I think someone had the question about about the stress and then anxiety, all of it. I mean, my perspective is that you learn that over time, and then you'll overcome it. And I don't think you shouldn't really think too much about all of that unless you try, unless you experiment. You will not know whether you become the good entrepreneur or not. So. Back to my story. So one day, we started making a little bit of money, and then I think after about a couple of years, I think we were making decent money. I was able to quit my job, and then one day, we used to get paid by the Google advertising, the AdSense thing. So they used to give us send us a check, right? So I had to go to a bank and deposit. So one day I went to a bank, and I gave the check to the teller over there. And then she looked at it. It was something about $2,500 or something. Right then, she was amazed. Like, did really Google pay you? Like she couldn't understand her curiosity, and then there is a the kind of different emotion because why would Google pay anyone? So I had to explain her what it is, and then then I came back. Then I thought probably maybe this is called entrepreneurship. I mean, I never knew. Up until that time, probably it's just about doing something out of my the mundane job and then pursuing something outside of my job, right? So the entrepreneurship need not be about starting with a big idea from day one. So you can also start slow, and then you can grow. So about a couple of years back, I thought I'll actually move back to India and then build something bigger and then better for India out of India, right? So we moved back to India. This was in 2011. So this time, I wanted to build the bigger the business and then big enterprise that solves larger societal problems, right? So for a couple of years, there's very little progress. I played with a couple of ideas. And then one day, when I walked into a local RTO office, I really had a very the poor experience with the way they handle our entire documentation, right? How the way they organize and the way they keep the documents. I had misplaced my document. I had to make several trips, and then they couldn't really locate my file. So that's when I thought maybe this problem is something I can solve. If not for the government, maybe I can start small. And then I started. That's when I started legaldesk.com. We quickly put up a website together, and then we had few initial set of customers, and then we were able to grow the business organically. So it took us a couple of years, and then later on we pivoted and we found a bigger business opportunity, and then we also happened to work with with some of the biggies in the industry, like Arun mentioned. It's about the people and the connection that you have, right? So I happened to meet, one of the events, I happened to meet Mr. Nandan Nilekani, and then he was talking about India Stack and some of the newer technologies. And we went ahead and then built electronic signature out of Aadhaar. And then we were one of the first private companies, and then Nandan himself did the product launch. So over the course of several years, now actually we have become the go-to product. 9 out of 10 large private banks in India use our solution, and then the many consumers use our solution. So we have about we have hundreds of employees. We have offices in about 3 countries now, and as we speak, we have about close to 400 the employees working, and then it's growing. So the thing I want to talk about is there are many kinds of entrepreneurs, and now the entrepreneurship is a career choice, especially for students like you. And then when you come to an institution like BIT, where you have the entire ecosystem to build your career, I think it's a great opportunity for all of you to pursue this. And I think like Arun mentioned, not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but that is okay. But then if you ever thought about becoming an entrepreneur, you should give it a try. Because why entrepreneurship celebrated across the country and across the world is for 2 reasons, right? Entrepreneurs solve problems for the society, and then entrepreneurs also create the wealth, not only for themselves, but for the people around you, their the employees, the family members, their investors, but also for themselves, right? So I think it is a viable career choice as we speak today. So if you want to pursue entrepreneurship, there are many ways, and then there are organizations, there are the complete ecosystem available in India. India is the second largest in terms of number of startups that we have, and then I think soon it will be in terms of the sheer number, India is the largest. So I think it's a great opportunity. So I also want to talk about the kind of the framework that I follow, right? So when I look back at my entrepreneurial journey, there is this the 3 things that I did that I helped. So I call it as a 3 P's and then 2 E's. The 3 P's that really helped me was that the first one is the preparation. The second one is the practice, and the third one is the perseverance. So when I started my first venture, the preparation and the planning took a long time, right? So I had to prepare myself. I had to learn new skills, and then I had to be there day in, day out and do it. And the second thing is practice, right? That you have to keep practicing it, especially for students, who wants to pursue entrepreneurship. It's not easy. You have multiple roles to play. You have to study, and then you have academics, and then you also have other interests to pursue. So for that, I think the preparation and practice really helps you. So if you keep practicing on something, I think there is this 10,000 hour rule, right? You become real expert if you have practiced it for like over 10,000 hours of time. So if you want to pursue anything in your life, whether it's art or the philosophy or engineering, any career for that matter, I think the practice is the key. So the third is the patience, the perseverance, right? I think you will never know. I think a lot of times you feel like giving up, but I think you'll have to keep trying. So one day, I think if you deeply desire for something, then it will come to you. So then the two E's that really helped me in my life is exploring and then experimenting. So there are a lot of things you need to explore in life. For example, I think the Professor Ashwath talked about the 64 vidyas that we used to teach in the old India, right? So there are a lot of things you need to try. Maybe your interest could be something with the science or a technology, engineering, or a travel, art, music, philosophy, and politics, right? So whatever. So just because you are studying engineering doesn't mean that you should not explore other things. You should definitely explore other things, other interests, other skills, because you don't know what you like. And just by becoming an engineer, you need not become an entrepreneur. Like while about 1/3 of entrepreneurs come from engineering backgrounds across the globe, but most of them have pursued their entrepreneurship interest in different areas, right? I mean, unless you are exposed to different things in life, different disciplines, you don't know what problem to solve. So keep exploring. Maybe you can volunteer with the non-profit organizations. Maybe you can volunteer with you can teach underprivileged children. There are so many things that you do to expand your horizon, right? To enrich your experience, right? When you open yourself to the world, I think you will be exposed to newer ideas. That is the only way to find and discover ideas. And the second part is experiment. You may explore like 10 things, but you need to deeply experiment with like 2 or 3 things. You need to go really deep. I think that is when you become an expert, right? So this, I think, if you remember I think if you were to remember 2 things about my talk, probably it's about 2 ways to approach entrepreneurship, and then also about this framework of 3 P's and then the 2 E's. So with that, I wish you all the best, whether you become an entrepreneur or not, or you may become truly a professional. So you are in this journey of transformation, right, from bro to pro. So you become the professional, you become the pro, but just remember that it's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. So you will be here for the next 4 years, and then I think you will be looking forward for the graduation and the degree certificate. But that's not what is going to matter in your life. It is the transformation that you go through, during your journey, right? The next 4 years, how do you spend time, and what kind of experiences that you go through, and then what do you really make of it is something is going to determine your success. So always, cherish your journey, and then make sure that it matters. So it's if you were to think of your life as a movie, you are the hero. But you can be a hero, but you can also be a villain in your own life, right? So unless you work on yourself, unless what you need, and then unless you expand your experiences, you will not be a hero in your life movie. You will sort of become a villain. I mean, what will you remember? Like, you probably after 20. I mean, now in 20s, another 30 years when you approach retirement, you should have lived the life rich enough for you to narrate the story of your life. Now, I think. Go back and then ask what kind of stories you want to build, what kind of the person you want to become 30 years later, and then work backwards. So for that, you need a lot of the preparation. So that is where your the 3 P's the framework is going to help. And I wish you all the best. I hope at least some of you become entrepreneurs, and there are a lot of avenues for you to be exposed to this entrepreneurship in India. I think probably the Ravi in his panel discussion is going to share some of the tips. I mean, 2 things that I can tell you is that there's a platform called LinkedIn where you can go and then register yourself and then start networking people and then find mentors. And the second part is go and then volunteer with some of the entrepreneurial organizations if you really want to be an entrepreneur. Thank you.